In 2010, researchers at Harvard told patients with irritable bowel syndrome something remarkable and completely honest. They said, "We're giving you a sugar pill. It has no medicine in it. There's no deception here." And then they gave them the pill. Those patients got better, significantly better. In fact, twice as many of them improved compared to people who got nothing at all. They knew it was fake, and it still worked. So what is actually going on here? For most of medical history, the placebo effect was treated like a nuisance, a confounding variable, the thing you had to design your study around. The thinking went, a placebo works because the patient thinks it works. It's all in their head. It's not real medicine, it's just psychology. That explanation sounds neat. It's also probably wrong. Here's what changed everything. In the 1970s, a researcher named John Levine gave post-surgery patients a painkiller, or so they thought. Some of them got a drug called naloxone instead, a drug that blocks your body's natural painkillers, your endorphins. And those people, their placebos stopped working. That's huge. If the placebo was purely psychological, a trick of the mind, why would blocking opioid receptors stop it? The placebo wasn't just producing a feeling of relief, it was triggering a real, measurable chemical response in the brain. So your brain can produce its own painkillers on command just because it expects relief. But here's what nobody could explain for decades. Why does the dose size, the pill color, even the price tag change how well a placebo works? Stay with me, because this is where it gets genuinely weird. Researchers have found that a placebo injection works better than a placebo pill. A placebo pill works better if it's branded. A more expensive placebo relieves more pain than a cheap one. 4 sugar pills a day outperform 2. And a red placebo works better as a stimulant, while a blue placebo works better as a sedative because of what we've been culturally conditioned to expect from those colors. None of this should matter. The pills are identical, there's nothing in them, and yet the body responds differently. Here's the model that neuroscientist Fabrizio Benedetti and others have developed. Your brain is a prediction machine. All day, every day, it's running simulations, generating guesses about what's about to happen to your body. When you take a pill, your brain doesn't wait to see if it works. It immediately starts preparing for the expected outcome. If your prediction is, "This will reduce pain," your brain starts dialing down the pain signal before the drug even hits your bloodstream. In a way, the ritual of medicine, the doctor's coat, the clinical setting, the act of swallowing a pill is part of the treatment. Now you might be thinking, okay, this is clever, but it's still just the brain fooling itself. The pain isn't actually gone, except there are cases where placebos seem to produce effects that the brain alone shouldn't be able to create, like in asthma and even cancer trials. Asthma patients given a placebo inhaler report dramatic improvement in symptoms, but when you measure their actual lung function objectively, it doesn't change as much as they feel it does. Their lungs haven't opened up, but their perception of difficulty breathing, their suffering, has measurably decreased. And that distinction matters a lot, because if placebo can meaningfully reduce suffering, even when it can't change the underlying biology, that's not nothing. That's clinically significant. Then there are the conditioning effects. Give someone a real immunosuppressant drug for weeks, then secretly swap it for a placebo. In some patients, the immune suppression continues. The body has been conditioned, Pavlov style, to respond to the ritual, the pill, the time of day, the setting, independently of what's actually in the capsule. But if the body can be conditioned to suppress itself, that raises a terrifying flip side. What if negative expectations do the same in reverse? Because they do, and it has a name. The nocebo effect is the evil twin. Tell someone a sugar pill will cause nausea, they get nauseous.
Tell someone they're receiving a high dose of radiation when they're actually not. Some will develop radiation symptoms. In clinical trials, patients in the placebo group regularly report the same side effects as those receiving the actual drug because they've read the list and their brain prepares for exactly those outcomes. The word nocebo comes from Latin. It means "I will harm." And the evidence suggests your expectations don't just shape your perception of illness, they can actively produce symptoms in your body. So where does this leave us? Here's the honest answer. We don't fully understand the placebo effect yet. What we do know has already shaken medicine in significant ways. Drug trials now have to control for placebo response rates that vary by country. American patients have stronger placebo responses in pain trials than German patients. Researchers are exploring whether placebo could be deliberately used in treatment, prescribed openly and honestly for conditions where the mechanism is brain-mediated. And perhaps most importantly, the doctor-patient relationship isn't a soft, unmeasurable thing. Warmth, confidence, the language a doctor uses when explaining a diagnosis, these have been shown in studies to measurably change patient outcomes. The ritual is part of the medicine. That's not mystical, that's neuroscience. The placebo effect isn't proof that medicine is fake. It's proof that the brain is a more powerful participant in healing than we ever gave it credit for. The line between psychological and real is a lot blurrier than most people think, and scientists are only beginning to map it. If this changed how you think about medicine or your own body, hit subscribe. We go this deep every week. And if you want the rabbit hole to keep going, the next video is about how the brain constructs pain from almost nothing. It'll make you rethink every headache you've ever had. It's right there.